everyone, it's me again, Brittany, and I'm here today to film my November TBR video. I know this is coming a little late in November. I did mean to get this up before I went to Argentina, but I just didn't. But I still wanted to film one. I thought that it would still be fun because honestly, I actually didn't read that much in Argentina. That was to be expected. I was spending time with family. So really, this is my November TBR. I haven't really read any of this yet, and I want to share it with you guys. I do have 10 books to show you, which is a little much for me. I feel like lately my TBRs have been a little bit smaller because I've gotten into a weird headspace where like I feel as though I have to finish my TBRs, every single book that I name off on my TBRs, and I kind of want to stray away from that. I think that it's just putting a lot of pressure on me. Like, this is more of a suggestion of what I want to read this month. This is kind of me telling you like, this would be really awesome if I got to it. But if not, I'm not gonna put that much pressure on myself. To be fair though, I really do feel like I'm actually gonna get to most of these, so that's pretty cool. There are some pretty thick books in here, well, like a couple, so we're just gonna have to see how that goes because I really only have like 2, maybe 3 weeks left. Let's kind of jump in. First and foremost, this month I want to read Gideon the Knight by Tamsin Muir. I actually started this in October for the Witchathon. This was the group book for Witchathon. Rhiannon had picked it out. This is actually one of Rhiannon's favorite books, I believe, of the year. I was really excited to get to it, and I actually ended up getting the audiobook for it, and I really was enjoying the audiobook, but I honestly wasn't absorbing it as well as I should have. So at the start of this month, on the start of my trip, I actually restarted the audiobook, so it's kind of like a whole new experience. Out of all the books that I'm showing you today, this is one of 2 that I've already started, so let's hope that I actually finish it. I don't really want to tell you that much about Gideon the Ninth besides it's kind of sci-fi. It definitely has to deal with space and planets and necromancy. So we do follow a huge cast of characters and they all are necromancers with their partners. And that's all I'm gonna leave it at because that's all I really knew going into it. I actually knew even less, but it was pretty shocking to find out everything as it went along. It has a really beautiful writing style. I think that it's very descriptive and it makes for a very atmospheric book. Wait, this isn't a review. But anyways, I want to read this. The next book, let's just get it out of the way because it's already started, is gonna be Monstrous Volume 3 by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. I have been obviously adoring Monstrous graphic novels. This is definitely my favorite graphic novels out of all the ones that I've started, but I adore it. The art style in here is stunning and the story itself is just so fascinating. It's a very steampunk world and we follow a girl who has a demon inside of her, a monster inside of her that kind of can take over and has powers unlike anyone's ever really seen before. I'm gonna leave it at that because this one also is one of those that if you go in kind of blind, it's so fascinating. It definitely deals with a lot of different like arcanic powers. There are 2 classes of people. There's a war going on. What more could you really ask for? And I started this one also for Witchathon, but I just didn't get to finish it, so gotta finish it this month. Oh, actually, I totally lied. There are 3 books that I've started in this, but I forgot about this one because it's been a while. So that's gonna be Archenemies by Marissa Meyer. I read half of this in my 24-hour readathon. I'll link that somewhere up here if you guys want to check it out. And I really, really enjoyed it. But for whatever reason, I put it down. Well, no, not for whatever reason. I put it down for October because I really wanted to read spooky books only, and I just didn't get a chance to pick it back up. But my dad recently finished Archenemies because we're reading this series together, so I definitely want to finish it real soon, especially because Supernova just came out, which is the last book in the trilogy. If you didn't know, Archenemies has to do with these people called prodigies. Basically, prodigies have a sort of superpower, and they're split into 2 different kinds of prodigies. There are the anarchists, and then there are the renegades. And the anarchists are like the villains of the story, while the renegades are the heroes. But there's a lot more going on than just that because there's a lot of talks on whether what the anarchists root for is really something villainous and whether what the renegades are going for is really something that you should strive for. And I've been loving this story. I love our main characters. I love Nova. I love Adrian. They're both so different because Nova is an anarchist and Adrian is a renegade, and there's a lot of secrets and I want to see it unravel. So yeah. Ooh, this next one I'm so excited about. I was supposed to read this in August and I never got to it. And I was actually supposed to be buddy reading this with Britt over at Basically Britt, and I just never got to it. And fortunately she didn't either. So we're gonna try and read it, I think, this month. and that's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I really don't feel like I have to give you an explanation of this. I feel like most people know exactly what Harry Potter is about. I am rereading this series for the first time ever. The first time I ever read it was back in middle school when Deathly Hallows had just came out, and that was my first read of it and my last read. And I recently reread Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the... what did I read it for? For the reading rush. And right after that, I wanted to jump into Chamber of Secrets because the Newt's year was Chamber of Secrets year, and I just thought it would be so much fun, and I just did not have time for it. But I feel like this is gonna be the perfect time for it because it's fall, and this is a very cozy feeling book. It's gonna definitely bring back all the nostalgia, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, so can't wait to read it. This next one, I'm gonna read Queen of Air and Darkness this month by Cassandra Clare. This is the third book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, and she's huge. I've definitely been putting this off for quite a while, I think for exactly a year now. I don't know, for good reason, if I'm gonna be quite honest. I just have not been loving the Dark Artifices. I loved the previous two series, but this one, for whatever reason, is not doing it for me. So I'm a little nervous going into this one. If you weren't aware, the Dark Artifices follows the Blackthorn family and Emma Carstairs. They were actually children in the Mortal Instruments, so it's really cool because we actually get a little bit of a flash forward and see how they're doing now after the events that took place in City of Heavenly Fire. And we're mostly following Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorn, who are parabatai and who want to be more than parabatai, but there is a huge issue that arises around that. And that's not really a spoiler, that's something that you kind of find out really early on in the first book, but it's just an interesting concept because parabatai are not allowed to love each other, and that's sort of what this whole thing has to do with, but it's also very political in nature. And yeah, normally I like a good politic book, but I normally need a really good romance to go along with it, and if I'm gonna be quite honest, the romances in these books are just not doing it for me, and I think that's maybe why I'm having such a hard time with them. And this one is definitely thick, so I'm a little nervous, but yeah. I know Irish Reader actually just read this like a couple months ago, and he did not love it, and Britt actually was telling me that she was reading it too and didn't love it, so I'm nervous. Actually, she finished it and she was glad that she finished it, so we're gonna read it. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, you know? I have to give it a chance because it's just been sitting there on my shelf staring at me. Ooh, this next one I'm kind of excited about. This is a random one, but I'm going to be reading The Archived by Victoria Schwab. This was like one of her first books that she ever published, and it's actually out of print in these copies now. I got these like years and years ago, right as they were going out of print, I believe, so I found them on like thriftbooks.com. So I do have this and The Unbound, and I know that this is an unfinished series, so that's a little bit where I'm hesitating, but it's such a fascinating concept. Basically, our main character is a librarian in a library of souls. Like, she is taking care of the dead, and the dead sit on the shelves, and she has to make sure that they don't escape and bad things don't happen. And I don't know much more besides that. I just know that it's unfinished, so that's a little nerve-wracking. But I did actually just get this audiobook in Libby. I always use Libby, guys, before I try out any other audiobook service. Libby is completely free. You guys ask me all the time, and that's how I normally listen to audiobooks because I do own copies, so I don't normally want to buy two versions of a book. And Libby just uses your local library and your library card, and then you get to rent the books for a certain amount of time. It just depends on what kind of library you have, and that is normally what I use. So right now this actually just popped up into my library cart as rented, and I do want to listen to it because I've owned this for so long and I really want to know how it goes. Who's here? I looked outside and it was a FedEx truck, so I'm just gonna get that after the video. I've been getting so many packages today. That's a good thing. But yeah, so I left off on The Archived. Next up though, another audiobook that popped up into my Libby cart, which I'm pretty excited about, is going to be The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I have been meaning to read this book all year. This is actually my most anticipated reads for the year, so I definitely want to get it over with before the year's up, and we're in November. We have 1 month left of the year, which is unreal. And it did just pop up into my Libby audiobook cart, so hopefully I'll be able to listen to this month. I'm not sure how I'll feel about the audiobook. There is a chance that I might just ditch it and then end up trying to physically read it. I love this copy. This is actually the Penguin cloth-bound editions. I want to start like a collection of these classics. So yeah. Picture of Dorian Gray, I feel like I don't really have to describe it. It's a classic, you know? It's a guy that kind of sells his soul because he wants to stay young forever, but he sees it in his portrait and you know, so I might have totally given the wrong description just now, and I really hope I didn't because that's gonna be embarrassing. All right, and next, these two kind of go hand in hand, but first off, I'm gonna talk about The Tea Dragon Festival by Katie O'Neill. I was actually sent this by Oni Press, and it was actually because of Dewdrop, which is coming out soon. This isn't the finished copy. I think this is actually just a sampler of it, but I do want to read both of these this month. I absolutely adore Katie O'Neill's work. I've only read The Tea Dragon Society, but it was just so wholesome and lovely, and I really feel like these books are coming at me at the perfect time. I just feel like this is definitely going to lift up my spirits. I definitely have had a rough year, so reading something like this is always nice. It's gonna feel like coming home, and the art style in here is just so beautiful, so whimsical, and it's just such a wholesome story. So I can't wait to read this one. This one takes place in the same world as the Tea Dragon Society, but I believe it does follow different characters. And then Dewdrop, I'm actually not sure at all what it's about, but look how cute he is. Look at him. He's just living his best life, being a little dewdrop. So yeah, I definitely wanted to read these. I did just get them in the mail, and graphic novels are always super simple to read, so I wanted to give them a shot. And maybe I'll read Aquacorn Cove too. Who knows what kind of mood I'll be in when I'm done with those. This last one, you're gonna be like, Brittany, are you really gonna read it? And guess what? I have to, because like I really want to make a vlog for this, and that's gonna be Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. I can't believe I've put it off this long. I can't believe I haven't gotten spoiled. I mean, I've seen all of you guys crying, so I know I'm probably gonna cry, but I haven't actually gotten spoiled, which is great. No one spoil me. If you spoil me, I will cry. No, I probably won't, but I'll be really upset. Dark Dawn is the finale to the Nevernight Chronicles. The Nevernight Chronicles are something that I absolutely adore. I've been loving this story. Having Mia Corvair and Mr. Kindly and Eclipse in my life is just absolutely vital, and I can't wait to see them in this one. Look how stunning. This is the UK editions, guys, and this one specifically is the Illumicrate one, which has the yellow sprayed edges. I am so excited for this book. I'm so excited for this finale. I mean, Jay Kristoff told us on basically page 1 of Nevernight how Mia's story will end, so I know to expect it. I'm just like hesitant. If you weren't aware, the Nevernight Chronicles follow Mia Corvair, who is on a mission for vengeance because her family was done wrong. Her father was murdered, her mother and her little brother were taken away, and she was left alone in this world for something that she believes was not just. And this follows her learning to become an assassin so that she can get vengeance for her family against the one guy that caused it all. And she does have a list of people, but there's one specifically who she wants to get. In the first book, she actually goes to a school for assassins, and the school is absolutely sick. The way that Jay Kristoff thought of all this, it's just, I love it. I'm not ready to let it go. Maybe that's why I haven't read it yet. We'll say that's why. So yeah, those are actually the 10 books that I want to read this month. I thought that this video would take a little longer, but it didn't, so that's pretty exciting. I know that this is coming super late, and I'm sorry about that, but hopefully next month I'll actually get my TBR up at a timely manner. We can always hope. And I actually will be getting up my wrap-up soon. I just always put a lot more effort into those videos, and they take a long time, so that's why this one is coming up first. But yeah, I hope that you guys are having a lovely November, and I hope that you've already gotten a good head start on your TBR. So I am going to get to reading because it's November 11th and I haven't finished a book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!